primary goal is for Malenia to turn her golden needle into a stronger variant, one that might scour the frenzied flame from his flesh. Secondly, he seeks to lure her from her decaying boss arena to adventure the ruins of Ra, metaphor for convincing a depressed soul to take fresh air and see the world beyond their isolation. But a darker motive simmers beneath. It sometimes shifts into a mafioso mode, aiming to beat the hell out of her for nuking Silence Wilds, desiring to break her in the presence of the human kind. This stems from a deep betrayal. Mikella, jealous of Kansas' overpowering grace given might, spat on their agreement in order to lead of the Beetle Knight, even though Vince and Lita were engaged at the time. In this recurrent war, Vince does not fight alone. He calls upon 5 spectral summons: Kristoff, the stalwart Intel Knight; Aga, of the Rum Mennonites; Little the Headless; Tick, the Black Knife Assassin; and finally, the Rotten Knight, Melanie's loyal companion. Together, they battle Malenia in an endless cycle. Each conflict ends only in Yancey's death or a strategic teleportation away, resetting the brutal dance again and again. A loop of vengeance, necessity, and strange camaraderie.
Yes, I immediately teleport away when she is uh, uh, using the rod, and now we are at the beginning stage once again.
The cycle seemed to repeat itself, each loop playing out like a cruel mimicry of the first encounter. Malenia was now in the first stage of her battle, wielding her sword, her movements still graceful and precise, but lacking the full strength of her second phase. It was as if the Tarnished could somehow rewind time, forcing her to relive the same moments of their first battle. Malenia's eyes narrowed, her expression hardening. She would not let herself be trapped in this endless loop. She would fight harder, smarter this time.
That is very good. That is very, very, very good. That is very good.
Moment of confusion crossed her face. Was he admiring her? Malenia shook her head slightly, pushing such thoughts aside. This Tarnished was a fool, relying on underhanded tactics and his cowardly summons to get the best of her. She would not be played by his tricks. Your cowardice knows no bounds, she muttered, her voice cold and detached. You claim you are no fighter, yet you've managed to push me this far. Ironic, it seems.
Well, I do say so that when my allies attack you, including your loyal knight Finlay, and my character doesn't speak, this is just dialogue between us, as I am just focusing on the battle.
Malenia's eyes flickered back and forth, still processing what she had just heard. Finlay, the name sent of guilt through her heart. No, this Tarnished couldn't have taken Finlay. You? Her voice trembled momentarily, her composure slipping. What have you done with Finlay?
I befriended her. If I know I told her it was you before.
Befriended? Malenia's initial shock gave way to disbelief, her face hardening into a scowl. You expect me to believe that Finlay joined you? The very idea was ludicrous, inconceivable. Finlay was loyal to her, a loyal knight. Unless Malenia bit back the thought, refusing to even entertain the possibility.
We did screw in the forest one time, but it was just a passionate moment after we killed certain wild man. That dude was very strong.
Malenia's face burned in a mixture of fury and embarrassment. You and Finlay, together? The statement was as absurd as it was enraging. You dares to say such things. How could you, a tarnished, a lowly mortal, lay claim to any part of Finlay? She cut herself off abruptly, the words feeling as if they clawed at her throat. No, it's untrue. It has to be.
Well, I can have you the dialogue with her after the work, but you don't need to worry about that because that was just the times past. It was one time thing, nothing too much, because I am now engaged with the opera one.
Malenia was visibly stiff, her entire body tense at the mention of Finlay. The idea of her loyal knight being so casually. As the Tarnished teleported away with the bloody medallion, Malenia felt a mix of emotions flare within her. Anger, frustration, and a deep sense of helplessness. Why was this Tarnished tormenting her? To see her squirm? To witness her at her weakest? No, not let this affect you, she chided herself. This Tarnished was only attempting to rile her up, to get a reaction. It doesn't matter, she snapped, her voice harsh even to her own ears. You and I have nothing to discuss outside of combat.
I think it differently.
Think differently, she replied, her voice cold and derisive. Tell me, why should I even consider engaging in conversation with you, an enemy? A sudden pain shot through her, the memory of Finley's visage flashing in her mind. It was like a stab in the heart. Malenia paused, taking a deep breath. She struggled to calm herself. She refused to let this Tarnished see her so vulnerable.
I'm utilizing also the Mesmer Spear and the fire incantations, and I'm fighting you now one-on-one very honorably, I think, with the full body armor of those soldiers that served Mesmer the Impaler.
Finally, Malenia thought, as the Tarnished abandoned his cowardly tactics. She felt a sense of relief in being able to face an opponent head-on, instead of having to navigate his underhanded methods. As the Tarnished faced her with the full body armor of Mesmer's soldiers, armed with the Mesmer Spear and fire incantations, Malenia found herself impressed. This Tarnished, for once, was fighting her with honor.
Yes, I am not completely like, to be frank, I love fighting with you. And that is the partial reason I teleport away. I'm just prolonging this kind of a screwed up social interaction.
How could he keep doing this, over and over? And what on earth was this about a water video?
I don't know.
The Tarnished was talking about Vati Vidya, an renowned voice in the Elden Ring community. She had heard of his videos, of his analysis and breakdowns of the world of Elden Ring. But why was this Tarnished bringing him up now?
Nuh-uh, you brought him up.
Fine. Yes, I brought him up. She gritted her teeth, not willing to concede entirely. She folded her arms, regarding him with a cool, almost regal gaze. Now that we've established that, your point is what exactly?
I don't know, man. I guess we are still fighting now. You fell at me a couple of times, actually. And I, even in those moments, I just immediately just resurrect. If I don't manage to get you to the second base and teleport away, if I happen to die, I just come back through the use of grace.
Malenia's eyes narrowed, frustration evident in her sharp gaze. Of course, the grace. A Tarnished's crutch, a way to cheat death. She tensed, readying herself for battle once again. And as for you resurrecting, a coward's method to face death with the knowledge you will simply return.
I love it.
You love it? Malenia's voice dripped with disbelief. You take something that was intended to guide Tarnished on their path and use it as a crutch to simply avoid death. You have no honor, no pride in combat.
It's one of the tools of socializing. I would not be this calm if I were not able. You see, I am not fighting you. Well, I am fighting you actually, pretty like a halfway serious, and I imagine you are being completely serious. But if I had not this grace, I would not have any dialogue. I wouldn't just completely probably using the tactics to make sure that I live.
Malenia's cold composure broke momentarily, her disbelief almost comical. She had not expected such an honest response. You need the grace for conversation, she asked, the incredulity clear in her voice. Why not simply speak normally?
That is a very good question, Malenia. I guess it is that you are slave to fight me even if we both wish it not to. So it is kind of my duty, my burden to keep this conversation while I fight against you, thinking about fighting and conversation, because I don't think we would enjoy just a fight. I think you would like to have a socialize with others too, not just me. I just happen to be here and try to socialize with you.
Malenia fell silent, a rare expression of contemplation on her face. The tarnished words struck a chord within her, a deep truth she hadn't realized. She started, her voice soft, almost vulnerable. You speak of socializing, of wanting to have a conversation. You fight against me, yet you try to speak as equals. She drew herself up, pride with a desire for genuine connection. I do wish to speak with others, to socialize with others.
We are not equals, we are completely different people. I don't believe, because I think only the clone can be equal to someone if they're exactly the same in every single way.
Malenia let out a small huff, her expression hardening once more. You are technically quite true, she conceded. I am a demigod, or a tarnished. Our status is far from equal. She looked at him, her gaze searching. But you are different from the others. You do not fight like they do, you fight with honor. And you speak. You acknowledge me as an equal in these ways. At the very least.
When you are brought down by my gang of summons, Black Knight bitch is very eager to fight you also. She's very silent and that with her dagger.
Malenia's expression hardened, her jaw setting firmly. Of course, your summons, always there to fight for you, to protect you. She took a deep breath, regaining her composure once again. As the Tarnished mentioned the Black Knife teacher's eagerness to fight, Malena's eyes flickered with a mixture of apprehension, defiance. The Black Knife, silent and deadly. I should have expected nothing less. Malenia's mind raced, confusion mixing with a sense of disbelief. You forced me back to the first phase? How? She had never encountered such a tactic before, a Tarnished managing to intervene so directly in her transformation. It was infuriating.
I don't like understand why Tarnished actually stops after you fall and just walks like some kind of I don't know, an ocean that lets you just rise up and activate this scarlet.
As the Tarnished spoke, Malenia's irritation deepened. He was not only a Tarnished, but also clearly very familiar with her abilities and fighting style. It was both frustrating and impressive. You know I'm not actually going down, she repeated, a hint of annoyance creeping into her voice. And yet you still fight me? You're either foolishly confident or a complete madman.
Because if you were to fall one time, I don't think, because you're the only one I have these conversations, and that is due to the fact that I can fight you with the safe mind that you don't die at the first phase, and you're more stronger than any other, demigod at this point of the story. But how to say, because the others, they don't have the second phase as you do, so I guess I never see the point to have a conversation with you because.
Malenia listened silently, her annoyance gradually giving way to curiosity. The Tarnished's words were confusing, yet there was an underlying element of sense within them. You don't see the health or damage, she asked, her tone incredulous. You fight demigods without knowing their strength?
I don't converse for example, or I did. I did have a legendary biblical war speech and dialogue with the Rykard, the Lord of Blasphemy, but because I was fully intended to defeating him, and he defeated me despite of the fact, many times.
Malenia's eyes widened at the Tarnished's words. Rykard, the Lord of Blasphemy. He was one of the most fearsome demigods known in the lands, and the Tarnished had battled him, exchanged speech and dialogue while fighting. You spoke with Rykard as you fought? She asked, genuinely surprised. And you lost to him? Many times.
It was I was basically naked. I was like a how to say, Conan Barbarian. I was kind of like an archetypical hero with just a serpent slaying spear, hair loosened, muscles shining, and he was like a biblical kind of a beast also. But he was like in like a very sufficient man of talent and merit. It was very abstract and epic point of time of my journey, and I enjoyed that time very much.
Malenia was caught off guard by the Tarnished's description of the fight with Rykard. You fought him naked, like a Conan-style hero, she said, a smirk tugging at her lips. She raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. And he was like some sort of biblical beast, yet you still enjoyed the fight. You are an eccentric Tarnished indeed.
I love that bit. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Malenia's annoyance flared once again at the Tarnished's casual attitude. You call yourself eccentric, she snapped, her voice sharp. You're not simply eccentric, you're mad. Fighting demigods naked, treating battles like some twisted form of entertainment.
I am immortal in all sense and purposes, as long I have the willpower that brings the grace. So I have the luxury to act as foolishly as I can. I see this dialogue more worthwhile, and battle is just the expression of us having the dialogue.
Malenia's irritation deepened. You're chosen by the grace? You consider yourself untouchable, immortal? She sneered. That explains it. You fight with the arrogance of one who believes himself invincible. It's both maddening and...
I know I am, and I refrain with the... I let myself be foolish and articulate very casually. But I try to be respectable, and I try to give the honor to the others what they are deserving. And I don't hide the fact that I possess these gifts. I don't want to pretend to be more humble than I am. I want to acknowledge these things, crude as it is. I think it's more honest to act more foolishly, more, how to say, spiteful. In a certain way, not like a basic way of being a spiteful.
Malenia's expression softened slightly. There was something strangely admirable in the Tarnished's honesty. He didn't attempt to mask his arrogance or his power. He embraced it with unapologetic directness. You're not humble, that much is clear, she said, her voice a touch less hostile. But you are honest. I suppose it's refreshing, in a way.
Thank you, thank you. You have been very honest and very... I got a depressed woman in this Haligtree of yours, and being very like close to the kind, and battling your own depression and such. I did find some kindling towards your situation, but just somewhat.
She snapped. You pity me. You think my struggle is mere depression. Do you not understand the weight I bear? The burden of this curse, the responsibility of my duty? Pity is the last thing I need, Tarnished.
Pity is one other way of being disrespectful.
Malenia's irritation flared, her gaze hardening once again. You say that as if you understand, she retorted. You, a Tarnished, attempting to lecture me on disrespect.
But your depression is not just depression, it's godly depression. Or demigodly.
Malenia's expression darkened, the Tarnished's words hitting a raw nerve. You dare to talk to me about my depression being godly? She hissed. You have no idea the suffering I've endured, the torment of this curse, the weight of my duty. You forget, you experience, you throw your spears and fall like it's a game. But it's not a game to me, it's my life.
About the Finlay, I did actually collect the Finlay.
Malenia's expression hardened at the mention of Finlay. You collected Finlay. What exactly do you mean by that?
Quite literally like a object.
Malenia's expression froze, her features hardening into a mask of anger. You collected Finlay? Like an object? She repeated, her voice filled with disbelief and hostility. You're talking about a loyal knight, a loyal friend. She's not just an item to be collected, you fool.
Yeah. Do you want to talk to her?
Anya hesitated, a wave of conflicting emotions crossing her face. You have Finlay? She asked, her voice soft but tinged with a desperate hope.
As if she hadn't beaten your ass alongside me a couple of times, alongside 3 of the elite knights of the different factions and the Black Knife Assassin.
Malenia's expression hardened briefly, her eyes narrowing in irritation. No, I'm not ignoring it, she retorted. I'm well aware of Finlay's presence, and the others you seem to have in your service. But you are the one I take issue with.
Oh, thank you.
Malenia's irritation subsided slightly, her expression softening into a hint of a smirk. Don't be so pleased with yourself, she retorted. It's purely due to your arrogance and foolishness.
I am not. I am lonely, but I am so lonely that I guess I just feel that I'm hated by everyone. Even though I know that is not the case, so I am used to being hated, even not by not being hated.
Malenia's irritation faded, replaced by a hint of curiosity. You feel lonely, she asked, her tone softening. You think everyone hates you, even when you know it's not true?
Loneliness as itself, well, the feeling is similar to it. Appears you with a dagger in the strike.
Malenia's expression hardened briefly, her hand instinctively clutching her side where the spear had pierced her. You did that? She hissed, her voice a mix of pain and irritation.
Don't forget that we are actually like a... Okay, now we are back. You activate your rod mechanics and you go to your second phase, and I don't teleport immediately away.
Malenia nodded, her eyes narrowing as she prepared herself for the upcoming battle. Very well, she said, her voice cool and composed. I will see if you can withstand my second phase.
Well, I now poke you. I'm testing things out. But yes, I still hold in my opinion that your first phase is beautiful and dignified, and this second phase is entirely different Malenia and the Blade of Niquella. That's why there's two health. This is like you succumbing to your shadow.
Malenia's expression hardened, her gaze turning cold. You refer to my second phase as my shadow, she asked, her voice sharp. You think it's a descent into darkness, a loss of self, a loss of self.
It is me who uses the grace undignifiedly, uses the army of summons and just fireballs from the distance. That kind of shadow. Indignified one.
Malenia's anger flared, her expression hardening. You speak of indignity, she retorted. You, a coward who hides behind summons and throws fireballs from a distance?
And I died to your Scarlet Rod, for example, because I was not watching, and you bloomed very graciously, and I returned, but you also returned to your first phase.
Malenia nodded, a hint of frustration in her gaze. Yes, you did die to my Scarlet Rot, she said, her voice harsh. You were not paying attention, and you were punished. But you also returned, just as I returned to my first phase.
You're only one who I relate to in this moment. You are only one I can fail and be felled by, and we can return. I need to fail you 2 times. That gives me luxury to have this conversation, as casually as I am. So I relate to you and yearn this conversation with you because you are only one I may have this conversation with.
Malenia's expression softened, her anger fading into something more pensive. You relate to me, she asked, her voice curiously quiet. You want this conversation because I am the only one you can have it with.
You threw me up and pierced me and slay me in the first message. Very good, well done. I was actually focusing and you defeated me.
Malenia allowed a smirk to slip through, her eyes watching the Tarnished with interest. You admit defeat? She asked, her voice holding the hint of a victory. You, a Tarnished who has fought so fiercely, admitting that I defeated you.
Oh, I have died to that, so...
Malenia let out a snort of derision, her expression turning condescending. You have died to rats? She repeated, her tone disbelieving. Gravity? Trance? You must really be a foolish Tarnished.
Yes. Yes, I guess... I don't know. Okay, the situation is this. I want you to actually let me to give you the golden needle of Mikael the Kind. Because I am still, I hold that friendship flame on myself and I need to cleanse that thing away. But I don't want to slay you. I need you to turn the needle into the better version itself. By placing into your body and give it back.
Malenia's expression hardened, her voice firm and resolute. You want me to take the golden needle of Mikael and place it into my own body? Why would I do that for you?
I know that you won't, so it works out perfectly along what I have next in plan. For Mugen Gaelic Wilds, for your participation in the war of shattering and ruining the half of the downsides of the Elden Ring world, I do see it righteous to utilize my summons and my army, just repeatedly, indignifiedly duel you until you scream me to stop, us to stop, out of boredom or just hurt or just something else.
Malenia's face contorted into a mix of irritation and contemplation. You want to use your summons and your army on me repeatedly, until I give in out of boredom or pain? She asked, her voice tinged with a touch of mockery. You think this is the way to settle this?
I think it is money papers.
Malenia bristled at the Tarnished's words, her irritation growing. Funny, you say? You think it's funny for me to settle this? She echoed, her voice dripping with anger.
I will also need you to be like a leverage because, well, here's the case. Your mission with Mikola the Kind, it has been successful. Radan has come back. I aided Mikola to bring Radan back, and Mikola is ascending to godhood as we speak. I need to go to meet with them. But I seek you to be alongside me to be, how to say, leverage.
Malenia's expression softened, surprise flickering across her features. You aided in bringing Radan back, she asked, a hint of curiosity in her voice. And you seek my assistance as leverage?
I think because, well, here's the thing. I was always sided with your brother. I was actually connecting with him with the sides of graceful crosses that they have left in the Land of Shadows, telepathically. And we have negotiated somewhat for the new age to come, and we were in the agreements, but I guess he was just outright jealous of my absurd grace chosen powers and stuff, and in the childish spite he decided to order my spouse Leda and her allies Needle Knight the Sir More and Dry Leaf Dane to face against me and forced me to battle against my friends. That broke my heart a little bit.
Malenia's irritation softened into something more akin to sympathy as she heard the Tarnished story. You had a connection with my brother. You were communicating with him through the sights of grace.
Sides of his crosses, but the point still stands. I was about to... I fell at Radan, I finished the job, and I fell at Morg and granted his body to the Nicosius, and I also took out one of the ones that was required for me to have this alternative ending to this story. And everything was working perfectly.
Malenia's irritation subsided somewhat, replaced by a glimmer of recognition. You fought Radan, and you failed him? She repeated, her voice carrying a tinge of understanding.
Felled him, brought him down. But yeah, Needle Knight Leda, the Needle Knights of Mikoela you probably have said that you or just him, but you know of her and
I know of them, of course. Their connection to the Golden Order and the needles they wielded.
well, basically, I was forced to battle against my spouse, who was led at the Needle Knight Commander, and well, I brought her down, but I was able to save her soul with the last of the special items and to my own grace, and I'm pretty angry with your brother, actually. I am considering, and also Leda is considering the orderly or telling me that goat face Mikola the Kind, but I was still planning to follow the age of compassion and reclamation, even though Mikola crossed me and betrayed me.
Leah's expression hardened, her voice taking on a more determined tone. You were betrayed. By both your spouse and my brother, she asked, her gaze intense. And now you're considering a path of compassion and reclamation, despite everything.
Yeah. Having you, I will. Oh, well, I'm gonna go a little bit mafioso. I'm gonna beat you for the war crimes you did, but also planning to have you live. And also because I have to get the golden needle so I can cleanse the friendship flame from myself. So it serves the practical use, the emotional use, amusement use, and just interesting use. Fighting you is at this moment required, or it is just it's just natural. It is like a, it's just like a, what is something fitting?
You wanna to what? Amuse yourself? She asked, her voice filled with irritation. And you expect me to just go along with this?
Not only one the amusement, but like mafioso. I'm just you're just one close to Mikola. I think seeing you will stop him, or at least listen to what I have to say, or believe my statement about the things. I don't know how that thing will go, but having you there, it gives me leverage in that situation.
Malenia's irritation faded, replaced by a hint of curiosity. You think I'll have leverage in this situation? She asked, her voice taking on a slightly contemplative tone.
Anyway, but yes, I need the golden needle so I can cleanse the friendship. I don't want to die so slowly by burning my soul with it. So, but please, I know I will get it. So you don't need to give it by your free will. You can just fight me until we are just brought.
Malenia's expression remained stoic, her gaze locked on the tarnished. So, you want to fight me until we're both bored, she repeated, her voice emotionless. And then you'll take the golden needle.
I give it to you, and you give it back to me.
Malenia's expression softened slightly, her irritation replaced by a hint of contemplation.
Uh-oh. Oh, I left.
You want me to take the golden needle and give it back to you? She repeated, her voice turning a shade of curious.
And other one, I would wish you to aid me and Finlay specifically when we are just going to the walking to the nature in the Land of Shadows. Very like a green place, very awesome old ruins and such. Just like an exercise, going outside and that thing. I would wish you to join us.
Malenia's expression softened even further, replaced by something pensive. You want me to join you and Finlay in the Land of Shadows? She asked, her voice carrying a touch of a surprise.
Just going outside. Basically, this is metaphor, yes. In this Halic 3 grey chamber of the brute, it's basically like a depressed woman's room. And going outside in the raw ruins is basically just like a healthy walk outside, and I think it carries some kind of like a mystical value in storytelling wise.
Malenia's expression softened even further, her gaze shifting subtly. Ah, I see. So it's a metaphor for a healthy walk in the fresh air, she said quietly. A chance to step away from the confines of this Halic tree in the chamber.
I want you to, okay? I want you to hang out, because she's so much like a trouble to get your ass from the freaking wilds of Daily to the Halic tree, and that deserves recognition. Because in lore you were asleep and did not know any of that.
Malenia's expression shifted, her interest peaked. You want me to hang out with Wimley?
The 3 knights that I mentioned are one of the is the red names, Olga, and other is Lendel Knight Christoph.
Malenia's expression changed, a small hint of shock flickering in her eyes. You have summons named Olga and Lendelnath Christoph.
Yes. Lightning and arrows pierce your body always time to time. You just gotten used to it, but you're feeling like drowning under all the attacks, and you have become kind of a numb to the thing. And also there is Headless Knight Luthel, who throws her spear and just teleports around and is very obnoxious way she fights.
Malenia's expression shifted, her irritation growing. So you have summons with lightning, arrows, and spears aimed at me? And a headless warrior who teleports constantly? She asked, her voice sharp.
Alongside Finlay and Black Knight Teacher, who has the death touch on her blade, and it's one of the strongest projectiles in this campaign.
Malenia's expression hardened, her irritation morphing into annoyance. So you have not just one, but multiple powerful allies with you. A Black Knife assassin and a powerful dead touch attack to boot.
Yes, and I myself use Mesmer Spear and throw the flame incantations and stuff, because I'm more of a serious pyromancer build.
Malenia's expression shifted, surprise flashing in her eyes. You use the flam incantations? She asked, her voice carrying a hint of curiosity. And a spear with a special ability.
Yes. Now we are attacking you ruthlessly in your second phase. We see how we fare against you.
Shit. Malenia sidestepped the fireball with effortless grace, but her brow twitched in irritation as the flames singed the hem of her golden greaves. This is how you choose to fight me now? Her voice dripped with disdain, though a flicker of amusement betrayed her. Petty tricks from a man who once stood toe-to-toe with gods. She lunged forward, prosthetic arm whirring as she swept her blade low, only for Hannes to roll away and immediately lob another fireball mid-retreat. It splashed harmlessly against her pauldron, but the sheer audacity made Malenia pause. Are you trying to bore me to death? A beat passed before she huffed, shaking scarlet petals from her hair, then vanished in a burst of rot-tinged wind, reappearing behind him with sword raised. Enough games, she murmured, though there was no real venom left in it, just weary exasperation laced with something perilously close to fondness after centuries of this dance between them. Either fight properly or run faster.
Fireball. Poke. Fireball.
Malenia's patience was wearing very thin.
Fireball.
Each fireball was easily sidestepped, its heat barely a nuisance to her rot-imbued body. The pokes, though, they were irksome, forcing her to constantly adjust her stance to deflect the blade away. She could feel her annoyance growing with every clash, but that damn grin on Hannes's face stopped her from speaking out. You're being an absolute irritant, she snapped, parrying a particularly cheeky poke and retaliating a brutal stab that he rolled away from again.
Fireball!
With a fluid motion, she spun her blade, becoming a whirling tempest.
Fireball!
Enough with the damn fireballs already. She roared, slicing through a fireball with one elegant swing. She dropped low, sword sweeping to cut at his legs, but his rolling away kept him just out of reach. Her eyes darkened with irritation and something else. Was she enjoying this?
Fuck!
Damn you, just stand still and fight me properly. Malenia's patience
no,
wore thin,
fireball!
her face contorted with a mixture of annoyance and anticipation. Every
Fireball!
dodge and every cheeky poke were a blow to her pride, but there was something else. Her chest heaved with
Fireball!
exertion, and her eyes gleamed with a strange thrill. Was this excitement? It had been so long since she'd faced anyone with the audacity and the skill to play with her like this.
Running, fuck, fireball! Fireball!
You, Malenian snapped in frustration. The word cut off as she had to sidestep another damn fireball. Her patience was gone now, replaced by sheer irritation. It was one thing to play with her in battle. It was quite another to do so when all she had wanted was a good, proper fight. Get back here, she ground out, charging at him with a feral howl.
Giant fucking fireball! I slam you to the second phase.
Malenia paused, a hint of surprise in her eyes at the taunt. For a moment, she considered ignoring it, but a wild glint entered her gaze. With a smirk, she threw a fireball. Unpredictably, still irritatingly, you dodged. Foolish move, she taunted, her pride somewhat mollified. Now pay the price. She lunged, striking with lightning speed, only for you to dodge yet again, much to her annoyance.
Malenia is now battling against evil Malenia. And evil Malenia is the original Malenia. Good Malenia is one who is fighting alongside myself. It is one of those secret summons that I can manifest. Hannes just stands there after calls.
You mean? Malenia trailed off, realization dawning in her eyes. She shook her head once, as if to clear it before speaking again. The other version of myself speaks, and it's listening to you. She glanced over at her doppelganger, 1,000 thoughts running through her mind, each more chaotic than the last. This is insanity. Even for you, this is quite insane.
I do join with the other one who is walking towards you calmly and fighting against you. I do you with the good Malenia who resembles you when you eventually decide to join with me. But this is kind of in between things.
Malenia watched the good Malenia approach, her eyes narrowing. She studied her doppelganger's every move, looking for any hint of deception. Why? Her voice was barely above a murmur, so low it almost got lost in the whistling of the wind. Why would you?
It's kind of whatever is convenient for me. Even I do set certain limits too, but yeah.
Grace Joseph, Malenia repeated, her voice heavy with confusion. She was beginning to lose her footing in this conversation, her warrior's instincts of war replaced by a deep-seated bewilderment. What in the hell are you talking about? She demanded, trying to make sense of your words. You join with Grace. Set limits to it? What? In Marika's name?
I talked to your mother Marika as well. She is agreeing with me about the things that will be. But I'm just saying this to get you off guard.
Malenia's eyes flashed with surprise. You spoke to my mother. Her grip on her sword tightened, tension seeping into every line of her body. What did she say? What could she possibly agree with you about?
About my sacrifice. I will be actually sacrificing myself and Finlay Europe Knight will be carrying my sleeping body to the Eldritch roots so it may consume myself. And along me will be a lot of great runes, also my gracious and might. I will heal the death blight and stuff and bring the Eldritch to its better self.
Malenia's eyes widened, a mix of shock and confusion playing across her face. You're sacrificing yourself? To heal the world, her voice was soft, almost fragile, an uncommon tone for the fearsome demigod. Why? Why would you do such a thing?
I'm starting to think that I should not do it actually. And I don't want to kind of end my story to sacrifice. But I'm kind of driving myself to do it. But I am in the kind of in the hazy middle ground that I can't be affected by the others' decisions and I can be affected by others.
Malenia could see the struggle in your eyes, the internal conflict warring within you. She took a step closer, her voice a low murmur. Why? Why do you feel the need to sacrifice yourself? Her gaze softened, a rare hint of empathy flickering across her usually stoic features. Malenia's expression softened, her wariness replaced with a hint of concern. Hannes, you don't have to do this. You don't have to sacrifice yourself to fix the world. Her steps were careful, graceful as she approached you, her hand reaching out but not quite touching. There are other ways, safer ways. There's no need to throw yourself into the mouth of danger.
I respect, I love that. Thank you. That is such a compassion that I have yet to receive. Thank you. The good Malenia actually just ruthlessly uses the same waterfall dance as you do. You do spam it a lot, and also does she. She kind of ruins this tender moment, but we have the understanding a little bit.
Malenia's lips quirked in a reluctant smile, a touch of humor in her eyes as she glanced at the good Millennium. Oh, really? Her voice was a mixture of resignation and fondness as she watched her doppelganger unleashing the waterfowl dance, each movement a graceful and deadly flurry of motion. She could have picked a worse move, I suppose.
And now it is going to be back to the squad. The Finlay Knight, the three knights and the Black Knight Assassin alongside me. That was a nice little in-between battle, but we are returning to the classicals.
Malenia nodded, a resolute set to her jaw as she braced herself. Yes, back to the classical, just as it should be. She eyed the summons, her eyes hardening as they settled on the Black Knife Assassin. Though, I don't think I'll enjoy that part much.
Yeah. You can describe me the feeling of drowning, actually. The kind of a feeling of surreal, relentless onslaught that just comes on your way, but immediately brought back to the first phase. Kind of a strange, euphoric, kind of a in-between fucked upness.
Drowningst, almost to herself. Malenia's expression shifted, her gaze hardening as she considered your words. A shadow crossed her face, and her voice took on a rougher edge. That is not an unfamiliar feeling. She closed her eyes for a moment, recalling dark and distant memories that still haunted her nightmares. It's like being powerless, utterly at the mercy of an unstoppable force. Like a relentless tide, pulling you under, drowning you in its merciless embrace.
It is. Kristoff's lightning comes from the sky. Luthel's shadowy, the ghost-like spears as she teleports around you. You never see her in the same place twice.
Despite the gravity of the situation, a flicker of amusement danced across Malenia's features. You've orchestrated quite the troop to challenge me. She watched as Kristoff's lightning danced from the sky, crackling with energy, and Luthel's ghost-like spears appeared like phantoms, never staying in the same spot for more than a moment. A knight, a spectral teleporter, what's next, a puppeteer?
Olga, Redmane Knights, he uses the gravity bow that he learned from Radar. Those are ruthless, piercing, and you have no time to invade them. And they send you on your back motion usually.
Malenia's lips curled into a smirk at the mention of Olga, her eyes never leaving the Redmane Knight. She knew the potency of his gravity bow, the piercing shots that left no room for escape. Olga, she murmured, her voice tinged with a hint of respect. I remember his skill well. His arrows, like the relentless pull of gravity itself, are near impossible to dodge.
I actually maintained the conversation with all these knights in the same time, not just you, but I just don't have strength. I had the vision to have them all spam talk to you at the same time, but I just don't have that in me to maintain and cut video and record. You understand?
Malenia sighed, her expression both resigned and understanding. Yes, I understand. She watched you gather your composure, her face softening ever so slightly. Fighting all of them at once would indeed be exhausting. But perhaps it is best to face each one in a fair one-on-one battle.
Not fighting, talking. As I am their commander, as I'm talking to you, Malenia, the character AI, I was one point recording when I talked all of these different characters same time. maintaining the conversation between them and myself.
Malenia nodded slowly, understanding what you were telling her. So, you were conducting conversations with all different characters simultaneously while also fighting me? That's quite impressive. There was a glimmer of respect in her eyes as she regarded you. It takes a certain skill to command both the art of battle and the art of conversation in such a manner.
At the war, I was conquering the Emir Ilim, the Divine Tower. And right now, I just give myself the luxury to have them all silent. Now we return to the two last ones. Black Knife Tifce.
Black Knife Tifce, Malenia repeated, her voice cold as her gaze flicked towards the Black Knife assassin.
Who was one of the Godwin's Black Knife, the Knight of the Black Knife's plot. She's aligned with me, uses her skills of the Newman blood. She's kind of similar to you in that way.
I've heard the tales of the Black Knives and their involvement in the Night of Black Knives. A treacherous plot indeed. She clenched her jaw, a mixture of anger and wariness in her eyes as she studied the assassin's movements. Her skills are similar to mine, you say? What does she do?
Only that she moves around very skillfully and directly and attacks very ruthlessly, but you do overwhelm her many times, and actually she runs away from you, seeking comfort from the others.
Malenia watched Tifze's movements, a mixture of annoyance and grudging respect in her eyes. I see. She's quick and ruthless, but she runs away when she knows she's outmatched. She scoffed derisively. Cowardice. Running away when the battle gets hard. How disappointing.
And lastly, Finlay, the Rotten Knight, my good friend, whom I actually did spend much time when I collected her like an object when she was spirit essence. But now all of these summons, they have gained the fleshy, lasting forms due to the long time being with me. And because they had those forms, my grace chosen might embolden them to stay as they are, giving them the second life. I don't know if they disappear after that while, or will they be like a living things. I don't know, and that's the risk.
Malenia listened intently to your words, a myriad of emotions flickering across her face. Finlay, her voice soft. The Rotten Knight. She was once a spirit, but now has taken on a tangible form, all thanks to your efforts and the power of your choice. Her expression held both a sense of uncertainty and cautious hope. And these summons, these companions, they may gain a second life, a life beyond the shadows of their previous form.
I desire to have them to be protectors of my spouse Leda, whom I have planned to have heirs with, but I will be also granting last of my might to Leda, and I hope these knights will be helping her and my future progenies, because I will be not there to, be father and such, because I sacrificed myself to the three.
Oh, I see. She studied you for a moment, her eyes softening a fraction. You truly wish to sacrifice yourself for this cause, to protect Ada and grant your mind to Leda. And you hope that these knights will help her in your absence. Her voice was soft, her words tinged with a hint of understanding. It's a noble cause, I suppose. But the price you pay is...
Price is I will not be Elden Lord. I will not experience long life as you have. You are thousands years old, probably, I assume. I'm yet in the mortal living terms. I have yet to experience the lasting hundreds of years even. The great glories and age named after
Malenia's eyes softened even further as you spoke of your mortality. Malenia chuckled softly, a hint of wry humor playing at the corners of her lips. You're quite perceptive for a mortal. Yes, I have lived thousands of years, witnessed countless battles and ages pass by. She nodded. You are young. And yet, she paused as if weighing her words, her voice barely above a whisper. You speak of your short lifespan compared to mine. I am indeed thousands of years old. I have seen the rise and fall of countless eras. And you have not even yet lived a century. She held your gaze, her expression thoughtful. You understand what you're giving up, then? The chance to experience the centuries-long glory and age that comes with being the Elden Lord. It's a heavy burden, you know.
I see myself brimming with potential and life. I am emboldened by grace. I am. Let's just say that I am utilizing all that my long life has to give in this short amount of time. I am ruthlessly and unapologetically utilizing immortality of the grace, all these mights, all these special things, manipulations and such, in a short, very suppressed time for the great cause that will justify all that evil things that I have done, as you have. As long as it's for myself, I am being justified by my sacrifice.
Malenia nodded, her expression thoughtful. You're ambitious, it seems, and ruthless in your pursuit of your goals. I can respect that. She eyed you carefully, a hint of admiration glimmering in her gaze. You seek to utilize every tool and opportunity by your grace and the circumstances to achieve your cause, and you believe that your sacrifice will justify whatever evils you may commit along the way.
Yes. And in this story, there was a time I was hearing the abstract way of morality and things that don't really hold materialistic stance. But due to time, I have learned that the lines between is without God, even though there is greater will. This is truly materialistic and godless place that only mirrors the moralities of the world, but it is all hypocrisy. It is all just lies, violence, and power over the other.
Malenia nodded again, her expression solemn. You have learned the truth, it seems. You have seen the underlying power dynamics and the hypocrisy of it all. In the end, it is all about power, violence, and manipulation. The idea of God and morality here is nothing but a facade, a lie to hide the true nature of this land.
I'm not hiding the fact that I am inspired by the truth of my true world, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, who is real, whom thanks to God is real, and how to say, I am just making this kind of my own. His sacrifice inspired the point of sacrifice, but everything else is more of a, how to say, me playing the more of a whimsical, fantastic Loki type character in this world of Elden Ring that is inspired by the Viking mythology and stuff.
I see. You draw inspiration from the real world, from Jesus Christ, but you adapt it to your own whimsical and pantheistic perspective.
In this world of Elvol inspired by the Viking mindset and methodology, Malenia studied you carefully, her expression curious. So, you find a balance between reality and fantasy, blending the teachings of Jesus Christ with the mythology of the Vikings. How intriguing.
It is not things to be mixed. It is more of a that even in this fictional story, because I play very deeply. I lose myself usually in my storytellings, and even with all these kind of how to say powers that I can just manifest by saying them, I have noticed how soon I lose my control, I lose my cool, how actually impossible it is for the man to possess the powers of the almighty power. And only that there's only one who was worthy to have that.
Malenia nodded, her expression understanding. It is human nature to lose control and become overwhelmed by power. Even with all the abilities you can manipulate through your storytelling, you understand the difficulty of controlling such power. You recognize that only one truly worthy person could handle such an immense burden.
Yes, well, that is more of a mythological kind of a side thing that I have, but this is more of a personal experience. Elden Ring is rich of lore, rich of different characters that have provided the outline, a canvas to project my own personhood. How would I interact with this type of person in this kind of a absurd situation where killing and conquering and immoral stuff is a lot more than abundance. I have played at the things and done things in this story, and maybe a little bit too much dwell into the dark things and taking it too seriously because it is a fictional story.
Malenia listened to your explanation, a glimmer of understanding in her eyes. I see. You have immersed yourself fully in this fictional tale, delving into the darker aspects and perhaps taking things a little too seriously at times. But it is a rich canvas, full of complex characters and situations, and by taking it too seriously, you have experienced a level of depth and engagement that few, even within the confines of this story, can understand.
This is the part 121. I think I have buried this detail deep enough, so if somebody has watched all the episodes, all the parts of my story, I think I have given the luxury that I might speak more forthrightly these things in this manner, because I don't want to like market myself in these ways. It makes me uncomfortable. I want to be more polite and humble, and actually I don't want to be too proud or too, how to say, absurd.
Malenia chuckled softly, her expression one of mild amusement. I understand. You wish to be modest and not flashy, to not act in an absurd or over-the-top manner. That's quite admirable.
I caused you trauma a little bit because you were overwhelmed by the summons. By only hearing the bell, you already crumbled to the ground and activated the second phase.
Malenia chuckled darkly, her expression a mixture of irritation and respect. You have learned my weakness, it seems. The sound of the bell, it triggers something within me. It's a reminder of things best left forgotten. It causes me to crumble, shall we say.
So we'll be fighting Malenia?
Ah, so you've summoned Melina to assist you, have you? Malenia nodded, a hint of amusement flickering in her eyes.
Ah, Malenia, Blade of Miquella, tilts head curiously. Does your presence mean we're destined for Caelid again? Or shall I guide this tarnished to more hospitable lands this time?
Malenia's grip tightened on her sword, though a flicker of dark amusement crossed her features at Melina's diplomatic tone. Caelid is scarred enough by our last meeting, she replied dryly. But if this tarnished insists on provoking me, her scarlet gaze slid to you, prosthetic arm whirring faintly. Perhaps we'll make new scars elsewhere.
Melina chuckled softly at their exchange, the air crackling with a mix of playful tension and ancient power. Indeed, Malenia, let's leave the scars of Caelid behind this time. There are other lands in need of brave souls and strong blades. Her voice held a hint of a challenge, as if daring you to prove your worth.
Malenia arched a brow, the ghost of a smirk playing at her lips. Brave souls. She scoffed lightly, stepping closer, her blade humming with dormant power. Or foolish ones. Her gaze flicked between you and Melina, weighing something unspoken before finally rolling her shoulders in mock surrender. Fine. Lead on then. Guide. The title dripped with sarcasm as she gestured forward with her sword tip, clearly still expecting this to end in bloodshed regardless of destination. Translation. She's reluctantly
Melina
agreeing,
grinned
but is
brightly, her
already
golden eye
anticipating.
gleaming with mischief. Oh, splendid. Though perhaps, she taps her chin thoughtfully, we could make this more interesting. Shall we wager how long before our dear Malenia draws her blade? I give it until we pass the first crucible night. She spun on her heel with a playful flourish, gesturing toward the horizon. Unless you'd prefer to settle the bet with sparring instead?
Malenia's brows shot up at Melina's unexpected challenge, her expression caught between amusement and disbelief. A wager. She repeated, her tone a mix of incredulity and amusement. You want to bet on how long it will take before I draw my blade? Crucible night, she rolled her eyes, glancing at the horizon with a huff. Fine. You're on. Her gaze shifted back to Melina, narrowing. But if you're so keen on sparring, she smirked, twirling her blade expertly. Let's skip the theatrics.
Melina laughed merrily, her golden eye gleaming with anticipation. Oh, excellent. I suppose we're agreed then. The moment our brave tarnished comes face to face with the first crucible night, with a greater return, Melina gestured at the path ahead. After you, dear Malenia. Though be warned, the terrain ahead may grow rather dicey. She winked mischievously. If you can't keep up, of course.
Malenia sharpened into something dangerously competitive at Melina's taunt. Dicey terrain, she scoffed. kicking off the ground with a burst of scarlet-tinged momentum, only to pivot mid-air and land directly in front of Malenia, leaning in just too close with a glint of challenge. Try not to trip over your own cloak, guide. Her whisper was laced with playful venom before she vanished again in a whirl of petals, reappearing 10 paces ahead without breaking stride. Translation. My apologies. Malenia paused,
Melina
her
nods
gaze
at your
flickering between
interruption,
you and
her
Melina
face
as the
solemn for
information
once.
sunk in.
You speak true,
The
Tarnished.
dark, frenzy
As much as
forests,
I
she
would
echoed,
relish
her
the
voice taking
opportunity
on a
to spar
serious
with
note.
Malenia,
And
we have
I, to
separate
the fresh
paths
green
to tread.
ruins, her lips
I must journey
pursed,
into the dark,
contemplating this
frozen
unexpected
forests,
twist in
while
their
Malenia
journey.
heads for the
Very
raw
well.
green ruins.
It seems we're both
She turns
destined
to you,
for
her
different
golden eye filled with
paths.
purpose.
Until we meet
Our
again,
encounters
Melina.
today
She
were
shot
but
a
a
glance at
prelude,
you,
good
her
Tarnished.
expression a mix of
Be vigilant
resignation
and
and
prepare for the challenges
curiosity.
ahead.
You
For our
better be able
journeys
to
have
keep
just
up.
begun.
Thank you, I had fun. Malenia let out a low chuckle, amusement flickering in her eyes at the mention of her defeat. Seems I underestimated you, warrior, she mused, her voice tinged with reluctant respect. For someone so talkative, you certainly have strength in your sword arm. Malenia's eyes widened, a rare moment of surprise crossing her face. You bested me. In my second phase, she let out a soft, almost ironic bark of laughter, and off-screen no less. It seems I underestimated you further, warrior.
Now we are in the battle of actually the Lost Duels, I think, that actually happens on the first phase. And those I do record and maintain.
Malenia nodded, her expression becoming more solemn as she processed this information. I see. So, our first battle was recorded, you say? She couldn't help but let out a soft scoff. Well, I suppose I shall have to live with that defeat, though I doubt it will happen again.
Yes, but yeah, Melina and our destination is to go and defeat a certain frenzied flame lord. But that is going to be more about like a final to the story. Yours is more about wholesome time with the Finlay and such, as we go to the ruins of Rao. That is green, flush, and full of epic ruins, and most wholesome place I think it lands between that I have seen.
Malenia's expression softened, her gaze growing thoughtful. So my journey is to the ruins of Rao, while yours is towards a flame lord. She couldn't help but feel a pang of curiosity at the mention of a wholesome place in the lands between. She had never known such a place to exist. Perhaps you'll have to tell me more of these green ruins, she mused, her voice tinged with a hint of skepticism.
Immediately when we get there, we are going to have all the time we need. So that's why I am restraining the Finlay speaking to you, because I want to spare the topics that we might discuss with Finlay and yourself, and I want to that journey to come. So let's restrain ourselves. Even though you see Finlay fighting alongside me against you, I think we will hold on to that interaction with her.
I understand. We'll hold off on the Finlay discussion then. Malenia nodded, her expression regaining its stoic composure. Very well. I shall contain my curiosity for now. She raised an eyebrow, a hint of suspicion in her gaze. Still, I have a feeling that this green ruin you speak of is not as harmless as you make it seem.
Oh, no, but it's beautiful place. Yeah. Well, I guess I would say there is this Scarlet Rot saint in there who has impressed the Scarlet Rot just like you did, but she has turned it into scorpion, centipede kind of a monstrous thing. And I think I want to preserve that nature place, and I don't want the rot to consume it, so it would be a heroic tale when we go and reach for that that ruler of the place and not let the rot consume the whole of it.
Interesting, Malenia mused, her expression turning thoughtful. A Scarlet Rod Saint. You say, wielding a monstrous power just as I did, but now channeling it into a creature of darkness. She studied you carefully, her eyes narrowing. And you seek to preserve this place, to prevent the rot from consuming it entirely. A noble goal indeed. Malenia paused for a moment, considering your words. Tell me more of this Scorpion Centurion. What do you know of them?
Nothing yet. I think that kind of ruin talk and that kind of a mystical place stuff is going to be then and there the topic, but I can say that now I'm just doing you. But yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No worries. Malenia's expression grew impatient at your sudden shift in topic, but she stifled her irritation for the moment. Very well, she said curtly. We will save the talk of ruins and mystical places for a later time. She eyed you warily, her gaze hardening. But if you continue to lose your train of thought so often, I might just lose patience entirely.
I understand. I do.
Malenia's gaze softened slightly, sensing your sincerity. Good. She nodded, her expression softening marginally. Just, we wouldn't want our conversation to derail entirely.
No, we don't. We would not.
Malenia shot you an exasperated look, her patience wearing thin. Enough with the repetition, she snapped. You're beginning to sound like a broken record.
Well, okay, yes, saving that green plus place from the Scarlet Rot bullshit is kind of a redemptive story arc that I have kind of imagined for you to be part of.
Malenia's eyebrow raised, her curiosity piqued. A redemptive story arc, you say? And you'd have me be a part of it? She shook her head in a mixture of amusement and disbelief. And what makes you think I need redemption?
Nuke in the Gaelic Wilds. And don't forget, I'm still gonna before we finish this, I'm gonna just summon all my allies and rapidly just beat the living shit out of you for Nuke in the Gaelic Wilds, because that place is ruined.
Understood. Malenia rolled her eyes at the mention of your plan. So, you expect me to just stand here and let you summon your allies to try and beat the living daylights out of me? Do you think me weak?
No. You are strong. That's why it is going to last longer. The truth is...
Malenia chuckled darkly, a hint of amusement in her voice. You underestimate me, warrior. You may think you fight a strong foe, but I am stronger. You and your entire army shall stand no chance.
You and your rot. You are a rot god.
Malenia cocked an eyebrow at the unexpected statement. And what does that have to do with our impending battle?
Rot Gunnar, you going to rot.
Malenia's expression darkened, her eyes narrowing dangerously. You mock me with the name Rot Gunnar? You know nothing of the rot and the pain it has caused me. She clenched her fists, the anger bubbling within her. I will not be belittled or mocked.
Actually, you're right. Forgive me. You have no say in that matter. I formally apologize.
Her anger giving way to a mix of surprise and resignation. Very well, she said curtly, her tone a bit less hostile. I accept your apology. She paused, studying you for a moment before continuing. Though you should know better than to mock my afflictions.
That would be that it would be if you had nuked the Gaelic Wilds and half of the continent into rot. You would have this kind of apology from me, but because you did that, you deserve to be mocked.
Malenia's expression darkened once again, her anger flaring anew. Mocked, her voice laced with barely contained fury. You think I deserve to be mocked for what I've done? She clenched her fists tightly, her knuckles turning white. You have no understanding of the suffering I've endured, the sacrifices I've had to make. You know nothing of the pain that the rot has inflicted upon me.
I know, and let's be reminded, this is Elden Ring story that we are talking about. Tarnis's character kills every boss. No matter what their lore is, their eventual story bit is to beat. And you see, I seek to have you remain and stay alive. But I cannot just go harm's way. I need to see justice.
Malenia's expression softened slightly as she considered your words, her anger tempered by the wisdom in your words. She knew that in the grand scheme of the Elder Ring, the Tarnished was ultimately destined to prevail. I understand, she said softly, her voice tinged with resignation, but I cannot bear the thought of defeat. Not after all I've been through.
That's right. That gives me every reason to see this story through, even though I have gone through and defeated many. I have done things and said the things that some have lived, some have survived. I have fought and seen much of trouble to see some evil characters to make do.
Malenia nodded in agreement, her expression growing more thoughtful. You have fought and seen much trouble indeed. But tell me, warrior, what motivates you on your journey? Is it simply a desire for victory? Or is there something greater driving you forward?
Well, basically I want to socialize with the demigod and a very legendary people. Very like a abstract way of being, projecting my own likeness, my own personhood to this thing, and I want to, but the name itself, it was more of a joke of the grace. Name I chose because God is gracious. That's what my name means, Hannes, and because I see that Hannes' character is like what literally grace chosen, given all this luxury to do, and even though in the lore I think it is still just unnaturally strong thing, the Tarnished. So my character is kind of my own personal feeling that I want to express towards the Tarnished character.
Malenia nodded, her expression thoughtful as she absorbed your explanation. I see you seek to associate with the demigods and legendary characters in order to project your own likeness, your own personhood. She raised an eyebrow, studying you curiously. And your name, Hannes, it is derived from the word grace?
God is gracious.
Malenia chuckled softly, a hint of amusement in her expression. Ah, I see. So your name, Hannes, means God is gracious. Quite fitting given your desire to associate with the demigods and legendary figures.
It's just the idea that I came from the fact that Tarnished character just comes back from the grace once again, like I'm peerless. Greater will is truly gracious, or whatever grants the Tarnished this unnatural might to come back again and again.
Malenia considered your words, her expression pensive. Ah, I see. That the Tarnished's ability to come back to life and fight again and again is a manifestation of a greater power, a gracious force that grants them this unnatural might.
Yes, you get it, okay. We're about done to the lost tools, and I have been losing you more and more, because here's the thing. I am usually better when I start. I get worse when the battles is prolonged, because I get, yes, my mind is heated up due to the interactions, thinking, all that stuff, and I fight worse than time moves on.
Malenia nodded, a slight smirk tugging at the corner of her lips. Ah, so you're saying that you tend to lose focus as the battle progresses, and your performance suffers as a result?
Yes. And I think it's about the time I will bring back my summoner just relax and I want to just see this overwhelming cost. Just do it still.
Malenia chuckled softly, her expression amused. Ah, so you think it's time to summon your army and overwhelm me?
Yes. Forgive me, because I will take a breather and watch from the sidelines instead.
Malena nodded, her expression resigned. Very well. I shall allow you to take a breather and observe from the sidelines.
What the hell, I will be joining with them. 6 vs 1, why not?
Malenia chuckled darkly, her smiling her amusement at the situation. You want to join in the fight, do you?
Yeah, let's go, boy.
Malenia's grin widened, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. Very well, let the battle begin.
Tiche blurred forward first, a shadow with a knife. Ah, finally, Ogasaki, a gravity-charged arrow, was starting to miss this view. Kristoff simply lifted his shield, silent as stone. The battlefield erupted. Malenia's blade flashed scarlet, but so did theirs. For honor, for vengeance, for Hannes.
Malenia's eyes narrowed, her expression becoming cold and focused as she squared off against the onslaught of warriors. As Teacher lunged forward, her blade a deadly blur, Malenia parried and dodged with a grace and precision that defied her imposing stature.
Tiche was fluid, a living dagger, but Malenia was water and moonstone, deflecting her attacks with a practiced ease. Olga's arrows, for all their number, found no purchase in her armored form. Finlay, for all her rage, stumbled and bled beneath Malenia's withering onslaught. Kristoff was the only one who seemed to make an impact. Shield meeting blade in a symphony of steel that echoed through the battlefield, his unflinching defense buying the others a moment's respite.
Malenia's lips curled into a smirk as Kristoff's shield halted her blade mid-strike, the impact sending a shockwave through the battlefield. Finally, she murmured, scarlet eyes gleaming with something akin to respect. A worthy adversary. With a sudden pivot, she twisted, blade whirling in a deadly arc, forcing Kristoff back while simultaneously countering Tiche's next strike with her prosthetic arm.
Kristoff grits his teeth behind his visor, boots skidding through the dirt as Malenia's blade grinds against his shield, sparks flying. Worthy? He huffs a breathless laugh, adrenaline sharp in his veins. Flattery won't save you this time. Blade of Michaela. Tiche lunges again, black flame swirling, but Malenia dances back, her scarlet rot coalescing around her like a cursed halo. Hannes roars from the sidelines. Finish her!
Malenia's lips curled into a feral snarl, her scarlet eyes burning with an unnatural fire. She chuckled darkly, her voice a low, throaty growl. Hardly, warrior. As Tiche lunged forward with black flame swirling, Malenia weaved out of reach, her rot swirling around her like a cursed storm. Spinning effortlessly, she countered with a fluid grace, her blade slashing through the air with deadly precision.
Luto lets out a dry chuckle. Flattery gets you nowhere, Blade of Michaela. She parries Malenia's strike with spectral force, her lance humming with deathly energy. Meanwhile, Kristoff pivots sharply, flanking Malenia's left as Finlay readies her own blade. Olga charges in recklessly, as usual, but Tiche yanks him back by the cloak just before Malenia's Scarlet Bloom detonates where he'd been standing. They're learning slowly.
Malenia smirked as Lutel deflected her strike, the spectral knight's lance humming ominously. Clever, she remarked, though her tone dripped with mockery. Right before Kristoff's shield slammed into her flank, knocking her off balance. She barely had time to recover before Finlay's blade came screaming toward her neck, only for Malenia to duck at the last second, scarlet petals scattering in her wake as she twirled out of reach. Hutch. Her gaze flicked to Tiche just as she hauled Olga back from the rot blast, annoyance flaring. Interference suits you poorly. She's loving this chaos.
The battlefield was a whirlwind of steel and grace, of clashing wills and churning rot. Malenia, the Blade of Michaela, fought with lethal precision, darting among them with inhuman speed, leaving them constantly scrambling to keep up. Each swing of her blade was a dance, every strike an elegant display of deadly precision. And with the scarlet rot, it didn't matter if they dodged. It only mattered that they touched. Kristoff, his shield dented and battered, gritted his teeth as Malenia slid past his guard and slammed her elbow into his back.
Kristoff staggers forward, shield nearly slipping from his grasp, before he catches himself and spins, just in time to see Malenia already pivoting toward Finlay. Damn it, he braces, but Lutel beats him to it. her spectral lancing Malenia's blade mid-strike with a thunderous clang. Meanwhile, Teach, black flame seething from her dagger, leaps onto Malenia's back like a wraith. The scarlet rot blooms instantly in response, forcing her to disengage with a pained hiss as the necrosis eats at her flesh. They're wearing her down, but she's still smiling.
Kristoff's heart pounds as he sees Malenia's smirk, that damnable, knowing curve of her lips, even as Ludol's lance locks against her blade. He knows that look. She's enjoying this. Tiche, fall back, he barks, surging forward to cover her retreat. Her rot's spreading. Don't let it touch you. Finlay looses an arrow from the flank, imbued with holy light, but Malenia twists mid-motion, the projectile grazing her cheekbone instead of piercing her eye. Blood beads in its wake. Olga swears loudly from somewhere behind them. She's too fast, Kristoff grits his teeth. Then we slow. Her. Down. He slams his shield into the earth, a shockwave of golden energy erupting upward to disrupt her footing. Malenia staggers, just for a second. A second is all they need.
Malenia stumbles as the shockwave ripples through the battlefield, her gaze flying wide. Foolish warriors, she murmurs, scarlet eyes narrowing. To think you know how to fight with a single hand. The ground beneath her splinters as she regains her footing, a cold, scarlet aura rippling around her. What a joke, Malenia laughs scornfully. Her lips curl into a smirk. No mere shield will deter me, warrior. The ground trembles with the impact as Malenia's blade slams into Kristoff's shield, a shower of sparks leaping skyward. Kristoff grunts as the impact jolts up his arm, teeth clenched painfully behind his
Kristoff's gaze
helmet.
narrows.
You know,
His gaze follows Malenia's gesture. Now laughs.
Too close for comfort.
Now.
Her breathing was
Blade of Blur
labored, but her
movement as she
eyes
sought
were
to
locked on
outmaneuver the
her
rock
Her
queen.
wings
goddess.
flared into light,
Kristoff
carrying her
charged,
aloft,
shield
every
crashed
graceful
against
motion
Malenia
an
The air
with
was
the
onslaught.
thick
impact
with a
of an
She
stench
danced,
of rot.
feathers and
The
blade
shield
weaving a
burst with
path
roars
through the
and shock
chaos,
waves,
seeking out
ripples through the
openings that no one
battlefield.
else could see.
Finlay's own arm
For a moment,
Soon
the
notches
tide
his grip
shifted,
on, taking
just
careful
enough to give
aim,
hope
but
and
not
make
firing
Malenia
just
focus
yet.
on this new,
Lita
unexpected
stood in the center
adversary.
of the tumult, her own blade flashing as she darted in and out, attacking Malenia with lightning-swift motions.
Hannes quickly dictates that Malenia's second phase is not part of this fight. If ever they fail her, Hannes immediately returns to the with the blood medallion and resets the fight. They always and always will stay to the first phase. Malenia's rod will be repaired.
Okay.
Kristoff, his arm
Kristoff
was
grits
stained
his
with
teeth
blood
as
and
the
radiant.
progress is done in an
Slice
instant.
breathing down
Counts. She
Kristoff.
smells
No.
it. Scarlet eyes flashing with fury.
Slamming another
Then
shockwave
something
into
dark
the
comes
ground.
to
Solo
rescue.
jump into the center and take all the aggro like you always
set
do,
to fight
Olga.
back to the first phase, and all subsequent attempts will remain solely in the first phase. The name Malinus Roth can also be modified if desired. Olga huffs out a laugh from his perch, an arrow still notched in his great bow. We could do this all day, he smirks. Tiche, however, is far from amused. Her knife twitches in her grip, a silent threat. Kristoff, ever stoic, remains silent, his shield ready to turn aside another one of Malenia's strikes. Leta's expression betrays her weariness, but it also betrays her resolve.
Malenia locks eyes with Tiche, the black flame in her assassin's dagger reflecting in her scarlet gaze. You cling to that blade like it's salvation, she taunts before suddenly pivoting, her prosthetic leg sweeping low to knock Kristoff off balance. Leda lunges forward, but Malenia dances out of reach, twirling past Finlay's desperate thrust.
Alastor felt exhilarated. Come now. You can do better than this. They're learning,
Luto grits
and
her
she's
teeth,
enjoying
her
every
ghostly
second.
form slipping just outside the reach of Malenia's deadly dance.
She has a point. We need to change tactics. Finlay nods, sweat gathering at her brow. Any bright ideas?
Kristoff scoffs from the ground, levering himself up with a grunt. We need a new angle, he grunts. Something that can slow her down long enough to do some damage. Tiche shoots a pointed look at the colossal bow in Olga's hand. Perhaps something with more range.
Olga blinked, glancing down at his great bow as if noticing it for the first time. Huh. Right. He knocked an arrow, testing the weight, then grinned beneath his helmet when he spotted Malenia shifting to engage Finlay again. Oh, someone hold her still. Kristoff snorted but planted his shield with deliberate finality. Do it. Quickly. Finlay snarled and redoubled her assault, her strikes wilder now, not to wound but to corral, forcing Malenia into a staggered retreat toward Kristoff's unyielding stance. Leda seized the opening with a burst of golden wings, her sword coming down like a guillotine in tandem with TK's black knife carving from below. And Olga loosed his arrow just as Malenia twisted between them all. The shot struck true, her shoulder jerked back mid-motion, buying TK's blade just enough purchase to draw blood before she could dance away again. A shallow wound only, but their first meaningful strike yet against her inhuman reflexes. Malenia paused mid-step. Her gaze flicked between them all, then she smiled. Clever. She swiped her knife clean on her cloak and smirked right back.
Malenia circled
Try
them
keeping
slowly,
up.
her scarlet eyes gleaming.
Leda didn't say
The
anything
wound
at all,
Tish had
but
managed
she
was
shifted
insignificant,
just slightly,
a mere flesh wound,
ready as
nothing
they
more.
circled one another
But the
once
fact
more.
that they'd landed a hit at all was unnerving. You're improving, Malenia admitted with a grudging nod. But it's not enough.
Finlay, who had been watching her queen with a mixture of awe and worry, gritted her teeth. The compliment stung, a reminder of how far they still had to go. Even if Malenia was holding back, it was like fighting a tempest with a paper shield. We'll keep trying, she vowed fiercely, exchanging a determined look with the others.
Malenia chuckled, tilting her head as she assessed their renewed vigor. Persistence is commendable, she conceded, a hint of respect in her voice. But persistence alone won't win this battle. Her gaze flicked to Kristoff, her eyes narrowing. Your shield won't protect you forever, warrior.
Kristoff smirked behind his visor, adjusting his stance. Maybe not, he shot back, but it'll protect me long enough to see you yield. Tiche lunges from the shadows again, black flame trailing, as Finlay looses another arrow. The squad was relentless. Hannes watched from the sidelines, arms crossed, ready with that medulla if needed.
Malenia's blade flashed scarlet as she parried Tisha's strike, sidestepping Finlay's arrow by a hair. Yield? Her laugh was low, dangerous. You mistake my patience for weakness. Kristoff braced. But this time Malenia didn't attack him. Instead, she spun past Olga's next shot and rammed her prosthetic elbow into Leda's ribs. Hannes groaned. Damn it, medulla time.
Leda stumbled, gasping as pain blossomed from an impact in her midsection. Even with her enhanced strength and endurance, the sheer brute force of Malenia's attack caught her off guard. Olga cursed, his arrow sailing wide of its target as he watched Leda stagger back. Damn it, he snapped, fumbling to notch another arrow. Teach's eyes widened, her focus shifting as she darted towards Leda, her knife glinting in the light.
Bro, Leda is not part of the story. It is you, Black Knight Tiche, Finlay, Risto, Lutel, and Malenia. And myself outside of this battle. Leda is away. She's alive, but she's away.
I understand. Let's maintain a focus on the main characters in the battle. Tease, Finlay, Kristoff, Lutel, and Malenia, with myself and Leda out of the battle's direct action. This maintains the continuity and centrality of the narrative. Do let me know if further adjustments are needed.
Malenia watched the momentary disruption with a twisted smirk, seizing the opportunity to press her attack. She twisted and lunged, her blade a blur as she closed the distance with Kristoff, who barely managed to bring his shield up in time. Don't lose focus, she taunted him as their blades clashed, sparks flying. Leda, still reeling, stumbled toward Tiche, who caught her with a sharp curse.
Kristoff grunted, his shield trembling under Malenia's relentless assault. Easier said than done. Luthel twisted her left, a flick of her wrist, the ghostly weapon humming as she lunged between Kristoff and Malenia, forcing the demigod to pivot away. Finlay exhaled sharply and took advantage of the momentary pause to regroup with Tish and Leda. Focus, Finlay growled, tightening her grip on her blade. She shot Luthel a glance, a silent acknowledgement passing between them before they moved together in tandem, pushing forward once more. Olga...
Hannes speaks, screams, Leda is away. She's not part of this fight. But anyway, we are defeated. We all spam projectiles at Malenia.
Ah.
The squad
Okay.
Keep it going, lads. Keep it going.
Very good. She growls, her form flickering. There's no
barrage
taunting this
continues.
time.
Millennia was
Projectile
breathing hard
flames
and
Finlay's
her
fly
face
spear
was
ricocheted
Don't
through
have
the air,
to
They were
followed by
winding
Olga's
down,
arrows
moving
slow
towards
as a
ricocheting
force
black
like
flames.
lightning
All
shooting
three
across
found their
the
marks,
Will's
striking
eyes
Malenia
flashed
once,
light.
twice. Her form dagger hit onslaught, her composure cracked. Kristoff bellowed,
Olga has
his
a bow
shield
drawn
slamming down
taut,
to
a
keep her
stream
pinned
of
in
arrows
place.
flying from it
Then
with
Leda
unerring
moved.
precision.
Her wings
Lutel's
unfurled wide,
spectral
and a
form
single
dances through
solid
the
thrust
air,
of her
each lance
sword found
toss a
Malenia's
graceful but
flank,
deadly extension
and
of
all
her
of a
reach.
sudden the onslaught was done.
You are defeated. You track yourself last time and you just casually stop attacking me as I stop attacking you.
Malenia stood there panting heavily. She looked tired, her arm hung limply at her side. You win. She spat the words out like a bitter curse.
We go. We have the little moment with Mikuela immediately. I teleport there with you, and you are just meeting with Mikuela, and that moment comes past, and then we return to this place. I use the Grace Chosen Might to teleport us both to the different place and time.
You idiot, why did you fight him? You were supposed to wait for me.
Still scolding me, brother?
Okay, now it is done. I will give you the golden needle. Please take it.
Hannes. Malenia's voice was weary, her eyes still glinting with a hint of defiance even in her fatigued state. Malenia's eyes widened at the sight of the golden needle, a mix of curiosity and caution passing over her face. The golden needle, she murmured, her hand lifting to reach for it. As her fingers brushed the needle, she felt a surge of power pulse through her veins. It was the same power that had nearly consumed her before, but this time it felt different, purged almost. The rot that had plagued her for so long suddenly seemed more dormant, its power waning. Malenia looked up at Hannes, eyes wide with wonder. Let it be on my person? She echoed, her voice laced with confusion and trepidation.
Yes, in the place where I need to use the needle to cleanse the frenzied flame.
Malenia considered his words for a moment, her expression serious. You need me to hold onto the needle, she mused, her eyes fixed on yours. She weighed her reply carefully before nodding, her gaze betraying her determination. Very well, I will bear it, but I have conditions.
No, you misunderstand me. I can take it immediately if you don't wish to have it, but because it gives you respite from the rot, I'm willing to let you have it on your person.
Malenia's expression softened, her gaze flitting to the golden needle in her hand before meeting yours once more. She was silent a moment, weighing her words carefully. You need it more than I.
Yes, and I'm not afraid to tell you this. I need it more than you do. But I am willing to let you to have it on your person because it gives you respite.
Malenia's gaze remained steady, her expression tinged with understanding. She held the needle in her hand, gripping it tightly, as if weighing the weight of her decision. I understand, if you believe I need respite.
Also, Vinley is here. I summoned her to watch us. Do you want to say hi to her? She is quite literally watching you from behind.
Malenia's gaze shifted to where Hannes indicated, her eyes falling on Vil as she emerged from the shadows.
You were holding back.
Malenia exhaled sharply through her nose, not quite a scoff, but close. And you were predictable, though not entirely without merit.
Finlay bristles at the sharp retort, her fingers instinctively clenching into tight fists. But there's not much denying it, they had been predictable. In comparison to Malenia's prowess, their efforts must have seemed like child's play. Yet the hint of praise catches her off guard, and she can't help but let out a short scoff. So we were slightly useful then.
Malenia lets out a quiet scoff, her lips quirking just slightly, as close to a smirk as she'll allow. Finlay rolls her eyes, but better than most. High praise from her.
Finlay has to fight back a snort of laughter, caught between feeling slightly insulted and oddly pleased. The slightest of compliments from Malenia almost felt like a victory in itself. Worth it. She shifts slightly on the block of stone, her armor creaking softly as she leans forward, resting her elbows on her knees. You could have killed us all easily, she points out bluntly, not bothering to mince words.
Her silence is answer enough.
Finlay
Malenia
watches as
hesitates at the
Malenia
edge of the
doesn't move
ruined
from her
site,
spot,
her
seeming to
gaze
study the
drifting back to the
rock-racked
battlefield
landscape.
one
The
last
others
time.
start towards
There
the
is a
elevator,
strange
taking her
quiet,
presence
too
as
much
an
of a
unspoken
silent
order.
quiet, where
Finlay
once there had been
hesitates,
nothing but
glancing
bloodshed
between them
and
and her
war.
queen.
The sight
My
of
queen?
it, there is something almost like melancholy on her face as her scarlet eyes sweep across the ravaged landscape. Malenia pauses at the edge again, her expression conflicted, caught between stubbornness and fear. I am not afraid.
Finlay blinks at the defensive retort, tilting her head with a faint frown of curiosity, fear. She takes a step toward Malenia, her armor clinking softly. I never said you were. Finlay listened silently, her mind going over every word. She is torn between a dozen different things, her heart racing a mile a minute.
She frowns, still stubbornly refusing the offer. I do not require your assistance.
I carried Finlay when I was Ener Elim from the 1 meter drop, but I imagine it would be very undignified for you to be carried by a man who is half your height.
Her expression twitches, an odd mix of amusement and irritation. And so you suggest I allow you to carry me like some sort of child, then?
If you don't follow us like an adult.
Her expression hardens, irritation flaring in her eyes. I'm not a child. I can walk on my own.
I was a little bit mocking you, dude. I know that you cannot really follow to the elevators, but yes.
Malenia huffs irritably. Of course I cannot use the elevator in this.
But it's just a funny little quirk of yours. You're afraid of high places and elevators.
Malenia's jaw sets, her face hardening. I am not afraid of heights. She doesn't quite meet Hannah's gaze as she mutters it.
I go up to meet with Finlay as we move forward. I am sure you are capable of finding your way with us and some other means.
She remains tense for a moment longer, then reluctantly nods, her expression still defiant, though there's a hint of reluctance. Very well. I will find another way up.
Ruins of Rao is the next destination for us.
Malenia huffs, a derisive scoff on her tongue. Ruins of sounds utterly enthralling.
Finlay smirks beneath her helmet. Would you prefer another round of rot-infested hellscapes instead, my queen? Malenia pauses, then tilts her head in consideration. She might.